Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey guys, welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. This is the after show for American Crime, episode 11, the last episode of season 1, and I'm so sad to say goodbye to you and goodbye to the show. What about you guys? Feeling a little sad after that episode?
I'm feeling very melancholy. I really am. But at least it got picked up for a second season, so it's only by not for forever, but for now.
I'm a little emotional myself.
Yeah.
Before we get any further, I want to make sure we get a few pieces of business done with. Check off those dots or whatever you want to call them. I one time said brass tacks. Do you remember that? And I was like, why did I say that word?
I missed that episode.
Maybe that was a different show. Anyway, you can tweet at us throughout the entire episode, or even after the episode airs. We'll be checking Twitter all week at hashtag ABTV American Crime. By the way, like I said, my name is Jon Manganello, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Johnny Mangs.
Hi guys, I'm Erica Renee Davis, and you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram and on Periscope and at ericareneedavis.com. But my social media is at Erica Renee D.
All right, everyone. I'm Lindsay Douglas. I don't have as many social media things, unfortunately. No, I love that you do. But you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Doug Ventures.
You guys, like I said, this was a sad episode. It's sort of weird coming in here and doing a show after it. We did at one point at the climax of the show, which we'll talk about in just a moment. We were shrieking.
Yeah, I screamed in Johnny. I sit behind Johnny when we watch the show, and I literally... I screamed in your ear. I apologize.
No, it was okay. It added to the excitement and sort of the intrigue of the show. So, as you've seen, as you saw in the show tonight, a lot of stuff went down. Let's just sort of go character group by character group. I want to start with Barb and Russ. Talk about that storyline. Oh my gosh.
My heart was breaking.
Ooh.
I felt Russ. I feel for his character, and you know, when he's pleading with every member of his family and they all just shoved him aside and they forgot about him, and I just felt so bad for him.
And I almost feel hoodwinked, stupid, because for the past several episodes I've been the biggest Russ supporter and talking about how he's come around and how he's trying to, you know, make better all of his wrongs from his family. Yeah. And then he commits a murder.
You know, it's interesting because I don't think Russ's actions are acceptable whatsoever. I follow his trail of logic because I think he needed to do something to prove his worth in this family. And of course, killing Carter was not the answer.
Yeah.
But for the entire season, Russ never lived up to the expectation. He could never shake the past.
He couldn't.
No.
And I think this was the ultimate sacrifice he made.
Yeah.
Again, I don't agree with what he did, but I do understand the logic in his mind.
And I mean, honestly, this is a television show, but I am so emotional about it because it's interesting and fascinating that everyone has fixated themselves on Carter being the murderer. And he could be, he might not be, but the fact that our justice system released him from prison, he's a free man, but then Russ goes along with this vigilante justice act and takes this man's life. And it just goes back to the fact that once the media or once law enforcement puts something into your head, sometimes like you make a good point. You can't see anything else. Like Aubrey made a confession, but Carter still is dead.
Right.
You know, Gwen hasn't spoken ever until today, but Carter's still dead. So there's so many other people who could be guilty, but Russ had fixated on Carter,
Right.
Because that's what they had
Because
sold
the
them.
world had
Oh, they sold him on it.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that Carter didn't do it. I don't think that he did, but even if he did, the justice system should have worked in his favor. Did not find him guilty. He was free.
Right.
And yeah, Russ's actions were completely unacceptable.
See, I think Carter did it. I have
Yeah.
trouble because I think I was confused when he had the conversation with Aubrey when they got to have that visitation, and Aubrey said, I did this for you, and Carter said, why did you do it for me? It wasn't like he said, why'd you do that? I'm the one who killed him. I'm the one who killed Matt. So that threw me for a loop.
Yeah. No, I could see him doing it, for sure. And I definitely see where Russ is coming from. And I still almost felt bad for him up until the moment. That he felt that depleted and that down, that was his only way out, was to commit a murder and then murder-suicide.
And it's a never-ending cycle, it seems like.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask a completely honest question.
Yeah.
You're saying that you feel like Carter did it. You do too. Why do we feel that Carter did it? Or why do you feel that Carter did it versus Aubrey or maybe Gwen or anyone else? Someone in the YouTube comments last week said that there are a lot of other characters that we haven't considered as a potential murder. But you're very sold on Carter.
I am. I think because of just the way the show has portrayed him and the way his characters and like the subtle, like he never has, like even his interaction with his sister and him whispering to her, like what was that about?
Okay.
Like just ways that he was portrayed and said things, and then the interaction with Aubrey. I mean, I'm not like dead set, but I don't know.
Well, I think it was him, and I think that Aubrey was his accomplice, and maybe
Aubrey's definitely
maybe did just as much.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I think that is because just we weren't introduced to the other characters, So given the pool of characters we have, I say Carter and I say Aubrey collectively.
Okay.
Also, I think
no Hector. Hector wouldn't have done it. I don't know. I wouldn't say I didn't see him doing it.
Well, I guess it's only fair. Like you guys defended why you think Carter did it, and I'm going to try to defend why I think he might not have done it. I think that there's so many seedy characters, from Aubrey to Gwen to Mark, obviously Carter, Hector, that any one of them, considering how they were all junkies, they weren't particularly living the cleanest lives. Any one of them, to me, could have done it. Right. And maybe I just feel empathy for Carter because he is a black man. I mean, just elephant in the room. He's a black man. I feel like, this black man is being framed. I don't think he did it, and it could just be my personal experiences. And so I can own up to that. But maybe my personal experiences and my feeling empathy for a black man in America makes me think that he didn't do it.
Well,
I think that's a very good point.
I understand that. Also, like, throughout this series, we've seen many people killed, and
yes, especially tonight.
None of them have been. We have not seen proof that a black man on this series killed anybody. We've seen that the corrections officer murdered. What's his name?
Edgar. Was it Edgar?
We saw that. Aubrey has the capacity to nearly murder someone by slicing their throat. Yeah. And we've seen Russ kill somebody. So I don't think that, I'm not saying that the black man is the one who's doing the murder. There's been a white guy. There's been a white girl. So, I don't know.
I understand what you're saying, though. I know that you brought it up just because.
Yeah, and again,
that's like the whole tone of the show.
And I'm definitely not, ridiculing or everyone. We were presenting all this evidence, if you will, so that we could all come to our own conclusions, which I think John Ridley and the other writers have done a phenomenal job at challenging us to think outside the box and to maybe even look at our own prejudices more closely. So yeah, definitely. I mean, if Carter may have done it, but I'm just saying that.
But yeah, I agree with your point. Like it's like a Cobry.
That's our celeb.
Brangelina.
No, but they're definitely. She was not innocent by any stretch of the means. I don't know if she actually did it, but yeah, she was absolutely there. Right. She knew all of the information. She knew
information. Yeah. That's why I think that's another reason I think it was Carter and Aubrey, because they were tied at the hip at the beginning, and there's no way that Aubrey would have known that information if she wasn't involved, in my opinion. Yeah. So I think Carter was involved as well.
Okay.
Also, I think it doesn't matter. I think that's the point of the show.
Yes.
Because we never know.
Yeah.
We never found out.
Have you ever seen the movie Doubt?
I haven't seen it.
Meryl Streep and Amy Adams, Philip Seymour
that one.
Hoffman. It's very similar. It's about this thing that happened, this crime that was committed, but you never find out that answer you want. Or the podcast Serial. Did you guys listen to that?
I love Serial.
So you never know. They never give you an answer. And what I like about that is we get to talk about this till the end of time,
we do.
And it's more about what happens around this crime than it is on the actual crime. And to me, that's more interesting.
And on that point, John, I have to say that watching the embrace between Aaliyah and, was it Eve? Towards the end of the episode?
Yes.
Man. That was such a pivotal moment because on American Crime and in America and in life in general, when we as individuals encounter or endure something that's so tragic in our lives, especially when it comes to a crime, we tend to take sides, especially with the advent of social media. Everyone takes a side, but what we oftentimes forget is that everyone in the situation is a person. Everyone at the nucleus of this circus of a crime or murder or whatever is still a person who has feelings, who has hopes and dreams for his or her or family. And I think we have to do better at remembering that. I know we get on Twitter, we get on social media, and we attack people, and we ridicule people, we slander people, and I think everyone has a right to his or her own opinion. But just think how you would feel if that, that was your brother who got killed, or your son, or
Totally.
You had to put race and religion aside and know that everyone really just wants to be loved and to give love and to be taken care of, and that was a good moment.
I agree. I was almost getting almost teary eyed. I was like, this is such a beautiful moment. They're literally putting their differences aside and coming together, because they both are hurting. Yeah. They both have just experienced extreme loss, Yeah, and
totally.
it's just, it was heartbreaking to see.
Yeah.
And more about Barbara and Russ before we move on from these characters. Does anybody have anything else they really want to talk about with Barb and Russ?
I think Barb and Russ completely changed positions at the beginning.
Yeah.
At the beginning, Barb was all about, let me get justice for Matt, and I want my voice to be heard. I want, I'm a racist, whatever. I don't care who knows it.
Yep.
This is how I feel. This is what we're going to do.
Yep.
And they switched roles, and I think it's beautiful that John Ridley and the other writers were able to do this in such a short series. To see that character development was fascinating.
Oh my goodness.
And I hate that it ended with Russ freaking killing Carter and committing suicide. But I think I like the arc and the pattern. You can see how people can change and how people can do better or do worse, for that matter.
When he came in, it was like she was a completely different character.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, who is this woman?
And Felicity Huffman's so good.
Yeah,
and
she's
I
really
saw that at the
incredible.
beginning of the series, but seeing this character arc, it's like, you know how to find this deep-seated emotion and release it when you need to release it, or hold it back when you need to. She is good. The acting on the show I thought was phenomenal, but
absolutely.
she, she's an Emmy Award winner. We know she's good. She was nominated for an Academy Award, but it should come as no surprise. But still, I'm shocked when I watch her perform. Let's talk about Tony, Alonzo, and Jenny. I was so happy nothing horrifying happened to them in this episode.
We're just waiting for another bad thing to happen. I was very happy that.
Okay, so at the beginning of the episode, Tony gets in trouble at school. He doesn't do anything physical, but he gets in an argument with another kid at school. And Alonzo is called in to, the principal's office or the guidance counselor's office. And Alonzo's pissed because he says, my son has changed. If you're calling me in about something that happened today, fine. But you can't hold this violent streak he had for a quick moment in his life against him for the rest of his time.
And my mom is a retired educator, and I don't think you even have to have a parent who is a retired educator to know this. But it's sad that in school systems, once you do something wrong, if you're not a straight A student, if you get in trouble, that's it. Like, the teachers basically, your name is mud. And like in life, once you do something that is just so egregiously offensive, it stays with you forever. So kids out there, just remember, before you do anything crazy in school, whatever you do in 9th grade is going to follow you to 12th grade. It's going to affect your ability to get into college.
And forgiveness is such a big theme in this show, and I was glad that they started the episode by having pastors and priests talking about forgiveness. And that's what connected all of our characters, is that every group had someone talking about forgiveness at the beginning of this episode.
It was so interesting, the 3 different churches and the whole just like the religious theme at the beginning. I was like, oh, that's, I mean, we've seen a little bit of religion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and then we're all preaching the same thing, which was about forgiveness, which, you know, I thought was very interesting. I thought it was a good point to bring into the show, since they're all dealing with these incredibly difficult, like heartbreaking situations, you know, and it's like, I think in some situations, honestly, like it's hard to just deal with things as like with yourself. Like I think a lot of people need to reach out to higher religions, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of people go for that. So,
So Tony, Alonzo, and Jenny are potentially going to be moving to San Jose.
Yes.
Jenny doesn't want to go. I think Tony seemed okay with that idea.
With her staying?
No, Tony
Oh,
seeming okay with the move,
with
right?
the move. Yeah, I think so.
He didn't protest too much.
I don't think so either.
yeah, he's okay.
I think maybe he wants a new start.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that's right?
I think that's pretty accurate.
I think he came around.
I think he needs to move to San Jose and not escape, but to start over.
Start a new life. That's what Alonzo said. We need to start fresh.
Yeah. May I say something about Jenny though?
Yeah, please.
No, let me
Dumb.
tell you. I mean, you know, hold on. When you're 17 and you're young and you're in love, you think, you know, that love is going to be forever. So it's puppy love. So I totally understand it. But what's dumb about it is that Alonzo.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, he's like, oh, you're so funny.
Yeah, I'm
like, no, she needs to like
be with her dad.
be with her dad and family.
Yeah, I agree.
I get that, but don't you think after all this stuff that went down with Tony, she deserves a break?
Nope.
No, she's
Nope.
still a kid.
No.
I mean,
Absolutely
she's
not.
a kid, but her life has been shaken to its core.
Yeah, but
But like that's life. Life is hard and it throws curveballs at
She's
you.
1 year away from potentially going to college.
And that's what she should do, and not.
and this is going to
stay with
sound
this
super
guy.
conservative.
I don't know.
You guys
Maybe
are
that's
hard.
why.
Wait, hold on. Like this is going to sound very conservative, but I don't think that a 17-year-old needs to be left behind.
I agree.
When she has a father figure in her life, I don't think that a 17-year-old can make certain adult decisions that would allow her to reach her full potential when she's
Exactly.
checking up with her
I
boyfriend's
agree.
family. That's just me.
I
now,
completely agree.
I'm super old
If
school.
she was 18,
even
you know, he'd have to be like, I'd have to let it go. You're
People
18.
leave for college when they're 17.
You're right, but see, this is how I feel. And again, this is going to sound
that's so rare.
this is going to sound very conservative. But when you leave for college when you're 18, whatever, I understand a lot of people who don't go to college do adult things at 18. But an 18-year-old to me doesn't particularly have the maturity and the mental capacity to make some smart decisions to set themselves up for a successful life. Now, I'm not saying that you can't, but if you have a father in your life or a mother in your life, or hopefully both, then I like the idea of being with your parent as long as you can until you go to college. That's just me.
I think I would agree with you in most situations. I think this is an extreme situation, and I think that Jenny has actually had to deal with a lot of BS that she's gotten thrust into.
Okay.
And so in this special circumstance, I would say, you have 1 year left of high school.
That's funny. You and I normally agree on stuff, but I disagree with you.
Yeah.
So what else happened with Tony and Alonzo? Moving to San Jose, Jenny wants to stay. Was there anything else going on in this episode?
No, they were very underwhelming tonight.
Well, compared to everything else, yeah, but that's a hard act to follow.
It is.
All the other things that happened. Let's talk about Aubrey and Carter. Oh my gosh.
Aubrey's a great actress. That girl.
She's
Yeah.
very good.
I mean, yeah.
Hey, if you're out there watching, you're good.
Yeah.
Come on the show next
season.
Next season.
I felt
Oh,
like
if she's alive, well, whatever. We don't.
if she's back on.
Yeah,
it.
she's back on. Yeah.
I felt like Carter was like almost trying to like not stay with her and to leave the relationship. He was in this like struggle of I think we'd be better alone, but obviously they have this connection and comparing her to his imaginary girlfriend, you know, and it just the end scene with him when he's calling her.
Yes.
I was he tried to break away, but he couldn't, and he didn't. Which is kind of, I guess, what we were left with. What would you guys say?
Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking about. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about all the stuff. It's overwhelming the plot line right now.
Yeah.
But I do think like when Carter was calling Aubrey at the end, right before
Yeah.
Yes.
Russ.
Oh yeah,
Shot
before he
him.
got killed,
Yeah.
before he got murdered. Yeah.
That was a really interesting moment. I wonder what was going on there. Was it to say, yeah, I am going to call you. Yeah, I do want to make this work. Yeah, when you get out in 15 years, we can go and, run around and go on vacation. And
he would want to, because otherwise he wouldn't have called.
Right.
And see, I think...
Right? Or maybe he would have.
No, I think you're right about that.
Because he was struggling, though. He almost was like, am I going to hang up?
He's gonna hang up, yeah.
He was mid-struggling up until the point.
I think when Eve went and spoke with Carter when he was still in prison, that Carter, when he tore that picture up, that was his breakup.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll never know. We don't guess we'll ever know. But I think he was done with Aubrey, and not because he didn't love her, but because he saw that. He told her tonight. He said, we are unhealthy for each other. He said that you have sold me a dream. You're good at making me live a dream, something that's unrealistic. Yep. He said our drugs and our liquor, those were both vices that were unhealthy for us. So and granted, Carter is not only out of prison, but we haven't seen him abuse drugs or alcohol in weeks.
No, that's true.
So I am thinking that he's thinking clearly and that he made a conscious, intelligent decision to cut her loose. So I don't know what that phone call was about. Maybe it was to say one last I love you. We'll never know.
Their storyline really made me tonight think of Romeo and Juliet.
You did say that. You said
Aubrey
that.
literally said no one wants to see us together, which you can't get more Romeo and Juliet than that.
That was...
And also, one of them is murdered.
Yeah.
And then the next one kills themselves. I mean, that is...
Yeah.
Do you think...
That's what that is. If John really didn't have Romeo and Juliet in mind, then that's the weirdest coincidence I've ever seen.
I found it interesting that he was at church with his sister. At the beginning. I don't know, just because I felt like he wasn't all about it.
I think he needed to thank the congregation for raising money for him.
Maybe you think that's what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Maybe he was, I don't know. Yeah, he didn't really seem into it.
No.
At all.
No,
he didn't.
He
didn't
said
seem
shit, and they were like...
I know that he cursed in the middle of it.
I love that.
Remember when Carter says, I'm not going to call you, and Aubrey's like, yeah, you will.
Oh, yeah.
And he did.
She's like the drug. She pulls him in. She knows.
And she only thought she was getting 15 years. What do you guys think about that?
She didn't know. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
But do we know how long she was going to get? Like, was she going to get life? I
think they were debating it, and she says, I could only get 15 years. I believe that's what happened.
But is that like on good behavior?
Probably.
Okay.
And see, I don't know, or maybe you guys out there can tell us, but I don't know, like, if she was going to take, did she take a plea? Is she going to turn some other people in?
They didn't, remember when she was in court?
She did say guilty.
Did she say guilty?
She did say guilty last episode.
That's right.
But you know what? They've always been dreamers since the very first episode, so maybe she's just like dreaming, like, oh, it's going to be 15 years, then we can be
together.
Magazine
and
couple.
I'll still be young.
Exactly.
No,
I don't.
No, she wouldn't be.
So I don't know. Like I don't know what her deal or her plea deal was, if it was even a plea deal. So I don't know about the 15 years. But if that's what she was going to get for killing somebody, girl,
that's not much.
I mean, seriously.
For first degree murder.
Yeah, seriously.
That doesn't seem right.
Aaliyah.
Oh.
Wow, she had some moments tonight when she was standing in front of everybody saying, filthy black bitch. That's what they called me. That was, it was a close-up of her.
Yeah.
It is very apparent that she has had to face a lot of discrimination in her life. I mean, I know we've seen that throughout the season, but that was just reinforced in that scene near the beginning of the episode tonight.
And they also called her a terrorist, too.
Yeah, at the airport.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
She says her brother is a good man. And then, like we were talking about a little earlier, Carter shows up to church.
Yes.
We're not sure why,
Sitting
but
in the back.
she did go up and whisper something to Aaliyah.
Yes.
What do you think that was?
I think he said, I know you don't want me to do this, but I'm going to see Aubrey.
Yeah, that's what I think. Something about Aubrey.
That's such a pedestrian theory, I know, but...
No, because the next scene he was with Aubrey.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
Or maybe, in the back of my head, I'm thinking that maybe he says, like, I'm the one who actually committed the murder.
I thought he was saying that, but then I saw her face and I was like, that's not the reaction.
It wasn't
of someone
like
who was just
murder face. It was
told
like, I'm
that her brother's a
confused.
murderer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
True.
Yeah.
I guess we don't know.
Again,
That's
we
what
don't
I
know a
love
lot
about
of
these
stuff.
shows. But it's good.
It's
we
so
can
many
talk and we
questions.
can
Yeah,
debate.
we don't know.
Carter speaks at the service. He drops the S-bomb,
He
if you will.
does.
We talked about that. And then Carter finds out that Aubrey confessed. I know we're sort of going backwards tonight, but...
And while we were watching, I think I mentioned, I said, okay, so how has he gone all these days without not having seen one social media site, without seeing one newspaper, without seeing anything?
Googled it.
You could have Googled, Carter, you could have Googled that your girlfriend.
That did feel a little unrealistic.
It really did.
He's not under any sort of supervision, is
No.
he?
Yeah, because I mean, he had pretty.
Maybe he didnn't want to know.
Maybe he didn't want to know.
Feeling
Maybe.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
It had something to do with Aubrey.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So many unanswered questions. We're never going to get the answer.
So much speculation.
You have a thought. There's something on the tip of your tongue.
Well, I'm just thinking about why they chose to let Carter be in the dark for so long about Aubrey's confession.
Yeah. That's what I said last week.
You know, and even if. I mean, and I understand why Aaliyah wouldn't tell him, but why would he not proactively look for what's going on? Like that to me did not seem realistic. And I think the show has been done beautifully.
I agree.
But that didn't seem realistic. Like they're star-crossed lovers.
Or was it like a short time period, like a day or two?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
That house, Russ completely redid that.
That's a good point.
Oh, wow.
I like
You're
that.
right.
No, I agree with you.
You see what I'm saying?
And I think in this world, it doesn't make sense because John Ridley has created this really realistic, rich world, and that seemed strange to me as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Hector and his girlfriend.
Hector!
I'm so happy!
I know, that was one of the moments in the episode where I was like,
one of them.
I can breathe again.
Round of applause, Hector. See, I told you guys.
You were right.
I said, do not belittle this man because he's a felon and he has a big freaking dream. And you were like, no, you got to. I'm like, look, baby steps are good.
But he got a job. That was a baby step.
But he got a job like doing in the tech world. I mean,
But you know what? He was about to not get that job, and then he just said, I'm trying to make a difference in my life.
He was real.
And I think that helped.
Yeah.
His
Dude,
realness
he was
helped.
real.
Yeah.
He acknowledged his mistakes and he's passed. He's like, I'm covered in tattoos. I can't hide this.
And,
which is completely different than from what Russ did at the beginning of the series, where he got the job at Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever he was working, and he lied about his.
Yeah, interesting.
He lied about it. And I think that I think that it's almost romantic to think that you can go into a hiring situation and tell a hiring manager, yeah, I'm a felon, yeah, I used to be in gangs, and still get hired. But at the same token, there are some people who are empathetic and who are willing to give you second chances.
Forgiveness.
Theme of the night.
Yes. So, yeah.
At the beginning of the episode, his lawyer wants to help him, and Hector says basically suggests this is a lost cause. No, don't help me. But then he gets off.
And he even says, he was like, I give up on myself. He was like, I'm not fighting for myself anymore. And
the lawyer was pissed.
What happened to the witness?
I don't know. You said that maybe.
I was like, maybe the girlfriend.
Maybe the girlfriend killed him.
I don't buy it.
Maybe she hired someone.
No, because I saw her face when they found out.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? Maybe she's pretending.
And I just want to, I want to juxtapose how Hector had given up on himself, but then Russ, who you would think, who at one point was hopeless, now he's doing everything to try to bring the family back together. Hector, a couple of episodes ago, was doing everything to get his family back together, and then he's in prison like, I give up. So I like that we're shown different characters, who, again, character arc, character development. It's been very beautiful, and Hector seemed hopeless, but then look, he got a new lease on life. He got his job.
So much happened over 11 quick episodes.
It did.
The show was action-packed.
It did.
Didn't waste any time. All right, you guys, the last character I want to talk about is Gwen. What's going on with her?
Gwen is playing stupid.
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
She's playing dumb.
I think.
You think so?
I think so.
I think so.
do.
I don't know because I don't know enough about her condition.
That's part of our speculation. I don't know. I just feel like I find it so hard to believe that maybe she doesn't remember the entire thing, but I have a feeling she might remember like snippets, of information and just maybe she doesn't even know what's going on in the memories, or I don't know.
And I'm not a doctor, obviously. I'm sitting
What?
here.
Wait, I thought that you were.
I'm not a doctor, but Isn't it the case where patients sometimes have amnesia, or what I think they called it, brain aphasia? I forgot what they called it, but they have memory loss due to a tragic circumstance, and slowly their memory starts coming back. When they were driving, I guess, home today, Gwen says, "I like when Dad drives. It makes me feel safe." I don't remember her ever saying anything else in this episode. So
she, at the when she first woke up, she was like, "The last thing I remember is driving with Mom and Dad."
Okay.
Whoa, yeah.
Remember that?
Okay.
And she was like, "That was the Sunday," because she was like,
"You're right."
Because they were asking her questions. This happened on Sunday. And she was like, "No, the last Sunday I remember is we were driving with Mom and Dad, and we were getting food or something."
Okay.
So that's interesting.
I think that Gwen. Okay, because characters are going to be different second season. I don't know if any of this analysis will even matter next season, but I do think that Gwen will either remember what happened, or she knows what happened, or she's responsible for what happened.
I know.
I don't know. I'm sticking to my story.
No, I think Gwen is no innocent little girl here.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
I don't know about the murder, but yeah, that's really interesting.
I'm trying to frame anybody except for
She
Carter.
definitely made some questionable life choices.
I do want to talk about one more thing, you
What?
guys.
Oh my gosh, go.
Barb falling in the parking lot.
Oh.
Rochelle, our girl, Gwendolyn.
Hey,
Shout out to
Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn. And Mark come running towards her. And Rochelle says, "I'm sorry. We need to start."
That was a nice moment. That was a nice moment.
Can I say something too about Mark? I'm pissed off at Mark.
I know. I agree.
Mark
I agree.
pisses me off. And we talked about last week, you and I talked about escaping your demons or dealing with them. And listen, that is your mom. My parents always told me, you get one mom, you get one dad. I mean, that's, generally speaking. Right. But like, that's your mother. And I would hope that in these very vulnerable moments that Barb has shown, and that she's shown not only us, but that she's shown Mark and Rochelle, and now Russ, well, before Russ got killed, that Mark would have more empathy and have more compassion. Yeah. And even when Barb was, saying that, your dad is dead, he was like, "Russ, the body." And it was just, he was so detached and just so...
Yeah, that was weird.
And I
didn't like it.
He was ready to walk away from his mom. She's just like, "No." And he's like, "Fine, if that's how you want it." I'm like, "Oh, you're the
Well, and then Rochelle
your mom
says no.
right now.
Rochelle says we have to.
Yeah.
I like
we have
that.
To start
I like that
fresh.
too.
We're trying to raise a family here.
Yeah.
That's just, I could never imagine treating my mother like that.
But I think that's
just
why there's that moment of softness at the end. And I agree
Thank
with
goodness
you.
for it.
I mean, like that. For the most part, I get if someone wants to move away and disconnect from their family if things have gone down in the past. But you're right. If your mom falls in the parking lot, you gotta go pick her up.
You gotta
so I'm
pick
glad
your
they
mom
did.
up. And emotionally, to look at the other side, because I know sometimes we just project what our own experiences are, but to look at it from Mark's side, his mother and father, I guess he thinks they're responsible for his sordid upbringing, if you will. But I just imagine how scarred he must feel to still call Russ, to still say about Russ's being dead, his body, or to
I know, it's crazy.
So he must be really scarred, or
deep hurt.
Maybe even throw it, compound with that the fact that he's military, and military personnel they hear, they experience things that we as civilians don't experience. So not only did he have that rough upbringing, but then he went into the military.
He's trained.
So maybe he's trained to be like
no emotion.
Yeah, to have no emotion. So I'm not giving him an excuse for that, but I really want you to be nicer to your mom. Okay?
Yeah,
You guys,
it's true.
We're gonna do some season 2 predictions now.
Wow. Oh.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
All right, you guys, what are the predictions? Lindsay, you want to start?
Oh my goodness. Well, Jon sent us this Entertainment Weekly article that said it's going to be completely different. So I'm thinking it's going to be in a different place in the country, and I'm hoping to see all these same characters. Like, I think that would be great. I'm going to guess that it's going to be like some sort of murder mystery with the show. But just different.
See the same characters or see the same actors playing different characters?
I'm sorry, the same actors playing different characters. Thank you.
Erica?
Because we've read so much literature about what season 2 or how season 2 will be different from season 1, I am just going to say, I don't know. That's
fine. Fair.
IDK.
IDK. Blank slate. I don't, I do predict that they will continue to challenge us to have these kinds of conversations. And again, I know I keep talking about the ratings and how they weren't so good and how they barely got picked up. And you guys in the YouTube comments, have agreed that the reason it hasn't is because it hits so close to home. Mm-hmm. But I really hope that my prediction, my hope is that people continue to watch, especially in those pockets of the country that are not as progressive, to, maybe encourage people to think more openly and more empathetically. That's my hope versus my prediction.
That's great. I like it.
My prediction is that season 2 will maybe deal with gender, sexuality.
I like that.
That's something that's hot in America right now and hasn't been discussed in the past 11 episodes, so maybe in the next 11 episodes.
That's a good one.
That actually is a very good point.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
That
is a good one.
I like that a lot. Honestly, I really appreciated the show. And I know we talk a lot about how we want you guys to think more openly, but I think I found myself having to challenge myself to think more openly.
Oh, absolutely.
And to,
seriously.
not view things just from my perspective. And I consider myself a pretty socially liberal, open-minded person. But shows like this make you check yourself.
They do.
They make you look in the mirror and say, I might not be as open-minded as I thought.
Yeah, there's always room for improvement.
Exactly. It's like it shows, I think, personally, a big growing experience for myself, and just wording things good and making sure that I'm perceiving other people's opinions of things properly.
I think this show is phenomenal, and I'm so glad it was on air, and I'm so glad John Ridley wrote it and created it for us.
Thanks, John Ridley.
I'm also glad we're gonna have a season 2, and I hope that all 4 of us are back.
Yes.
Hey, by the way, Nick Grava, if you're out there tonight, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Nick.
We miss you, and we've missed you for the past few weeks. Once again, I'm Jon Manganello. I'm going to miss you all, but we can stay connected on Twitter and Instagram at Johnny Mangs.
I am going to miss you, too. Until next season, Erica Renee D on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Periscope.
And so long, everyone. I'm Lindsay Douglas at Doug Ventures on Instagram and Twitter.
See you next season, guys. Mwah. Love you all. Thanks for watching.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.